Black Clover fans, you're going to want to stick around for this one. You're going to want to hear what I got to say in terms of what just went down with the massive twist. And I have all the details, and I'm going to tell you what hasn't been told yet. I'm going to break it all down on how Lucius Zogratis played everyone under the rules of, no, I am Julius Novachrono. No, I can't believe it.
俺が魔力ないのなんで知ってるんですか?
さて、なんでだろうね。
But we did call it, people. We did call it, and we got to talk a little bit of that Black Clover greatness, because right now we just went from, oh my gosh, chapter 330, what did you do to Bata Lucifero, what's up? To holy cow, this is the greatest plot twist of the entire series, something that even though I called it, it just right now reinvigorated my entire love and passion for Black Clover, and I'm ready to scream, let's go! Okay, people, so if you're a Black Clover fan, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell to get all notifications, because we're going to be talking about some major, huge bombshells of the series, and I'm going to break down some stuff that you're going to be like, oh, snap, I got to find out more. Bottom line, there's a perspective that can be looked at in terms of when it comes to Black Clover of, hey, if you really think about it, it's almost been a survival game between devils all along on who's going to succeed their father. Although the other devils weren't really playing, they were just kind of going along because they didn't realize that, holy cow, there was somebody that was pulling the strings and he was using time to do so. Because Black Clover chapter 331, the final chapter before the 3-month, we could call it time skip, we could call it break, whatever you want. It's a real world time skip and it's a break at the same time for the manga. But I definitely felt that it addressed some serious issues that needed to be addressed. For starters, immediately with Yuno and his family, his mother and them asking like, yo dog, are you going to come back to the Spade Nation? Like, what are you trying to do here? Which is definitely one of the big obvious questions of like, okay, where do we go from here, considering the fact that Yuno's life goal has been, nah, I'm gonna be Wizard King. Now there's an opportunity straight up that you can become the Wizard King, so to speak, of Spade. Except you've already made that vow, and that was one of the things that stopped him, and ultimately one of the last pieces that kind of, if I'm not mistaken, if you ask me, confirms that he didn't necessarily say no, right? Like, it ends with the whole big, you know, back and forth between him and Asta of, I'm gonna be Wizard King. He didn't necessarily say no, so it means that if he fails to become Wizard King and Asta does it before him, does he go to Spade automatically? Like, is that the next step? And again, we're going into the final arc, so I don't know if that would be like in a time skip per se. Black Clover Shippuden, where Asta and Yuno are both like, hey, we got the Clover Kingdom and the Spade Kingdom, and considering Black Clover has a cult fan base that will still follow it regardless if it went into like a different magazine even, like I'm totally thinking outside the box right now, but like if we had another part after this final arc where they're adults, I would love to see that in a different magazine where Tabata can just go all out. But also, again, I was confirmed 100% right when I said that Asta and Lieb essentially combined became one, hence that Asta was able to see his mother's memories, and he thanks Lieb in this chapter saying, wow, she actually really did love me. And that was really a nice, sad moment. I didn't know of Tabata, and honestly, it kind of felt like maybe he might not reveal it. Like, hey, Asta doesn't know this whole story. He went without knowing about his mother, so it was kind of dope that he did that little twist, and it was a small but solid moment considering, oh my god. Because hands down, Black Clover chapter 331 is easily one of my favorite chapters of the year thus far of 2022. There's only like one other series, and that's One Piece, that even comes close to just blowing my mind away like that chapter did. Because there's not like any fake outs that you can really do it. What happens? But again, I'm getting ahead of, I'm putting the horse before the carriage. Also, it kind of gives a real turning point of the Black Clover story, and basically saying that majority of this story was Asta helping to avenge his mother and basically helping Lieb to achieve his goals. And Lieb is like, yo, from here on out, now it's all about your goals. Now that whole thing that everybody is like, yo dog, the way we wanted Naruto to become Hokage, we want to see Asta become the Wizard King. That's going to be the focus moving forward, obviously with a lot of obstacles in between, considering the fact that the title he's vying for is currently being occupied by Snake! Also, good luck to Asta on trying to get the village to, you know, approve of Lieb, considering the fact that they were damning him like Damnatio just, you know, before this arc. Then that's when the chapter switches up entirely and goes into just, wow. We cut to Julius, and he's filled with angst as he's worrying, like, how did this all add up? Because a lot of things does not make sense in terms of the structure of what was happening with the devils, and he's right there kind of busting his brain a little bit, and things are unclear. But it's kind of crazy because I did think to a certain degree that maybe Damnatio would have been involved in all this. I just didn't realize that Tabata was gonna blow our minds and have Damnatio be the one that finds out that Julius is this thing, which is also kind of crazy because a lot of people are saying that this chapter was very Aizen Bleach, like when Damnatio looks damn near identical to Aizen from Bleach. Like, look at him, just look, he looks exactly like Aizen, except the twist from Tabata of taking the trope was, no, that's not actually Aizen. Aizen is in front of Aizen, like, yeah. And Damnatio was just spitting facts, like, wait a minute, so the initial structure was Beelzebub, Lucifero, Beelzebub, Beelzebub, Astaroth, and Lucifero. Lucifero, you know, the big king of it all, and then the other two, where the hell did this Magicula thing come from? It just doesn't make sense. Not to mention that Astaroth has been missing in the underworld for quite some time, so again, it could have explained that Magicula took that place, but then where the hell did Astaroth go? Did he die? And then the last piece was that, hey, the only person in this entire history that's ever had time magic is you, Julius. So what's going on here? And to be honest with you, the breadcrumbs have been since the very beginning. I personally think, and Conspiracy Hat, ignore me if you want to, I think initially Tabata was going to work this Julius's evil angle all the way back in the Devil arc, and for whatever reason he decided not to, because I remember in the anime when they have this thing that essentially felt like a spoiler of, there was a part in the opening that had certain characters that turned out to be evil, except Julius was never revealed to be evil. I think Tabata was going to reveal it during the Elf arc instead of Zogratis. It was going to be like the whole Lucius reveal, but maybe he switched it out at the last second, or they told him, hey, how about we save this for another arc? Maybe he was going to end Black Clover there and do a big time skip, and things just kind of got wonky. Well, he did do a big time skip, but again, it kind of merged into this, because realistically there is a criticism out there that I'm going to throw out there right now that I'm not going to really focus in on too much because I feel it's minuscule, but nevertheless some people are saying, hey, now we're doing this double-minded stuff again, like we just had that with Patry, now we're doing this also with him, like what's going on? But I throw the argument that Lucius actually followed that blueprint in a way and was, yeah, you'll see, because following Damnatio saying, please tell me you're not the devil that saved this country, you see that Julius is actually nervous and worried. Looks like, oh my god, he's finding out himself that he's not who he thinks he is and is bugging him out. And yeah, it turns out that Julius is actually Lucius Zogratis, which is the time devil. And holy cow, because then we got Adramelech flying through the window, which Adramelech, a lot of people were like, oh god, here's the big plot twist, but the plot twist was even bigger than just Adramelech getting Lucifero's heart and going that route. And there's more to it because, yeah, more than likely Lucius probably controlled that Lucifero fight, and probably everybody died in a different timeline, or actually died and just time was rewinded to before they died constantly in order for things to go the way that they wanted it to. But I'm gonna go even further than that theory, because you probably heard that floating around there, right? You're like, yo, Fenev, we kind of heard something like that. You got anything? I got something else for you. Pretty much here's what happened. Boom, right? I think Lucius Zogratis has been in the series since the beginning. He could have even been, a lot of theories are flying that he's the first Wizard King, right? Here's a theory I didn't see. More than likely that sun mark on his forehead is what's actually embodying what Lucius Zogratis possibly is. Possibly the body of Lucius Zogratis is gone, and possibly the combination of A, the devil world opening up and that devil energy coming in, possibly infiltrating the grimoire, possibly giving it the pages it needed to put that sun mark back on his head in order to bring him back to reality of, I am not Julius, I am actually Lucius Zogratis. I think what happened was, during the battle against Patry, maybe Lucius Zogratis was caught off guard, or ultimately because he had to keep up the charade and the ruse, or maybe he even grew to like and love the kingdom and feel like, yeah, I am the king of all of this stuff, and ultimately maybe sacrifice himself legitimately against Patry and was like, screw it. Or possibly he had to do that because he just couldn't beat him. He was that outclassed at the time and he had to keep things going, so he had to take that L and knew, I'm still gonna survive, but crap, I'm gonna forget that I'm Lucius Zogratis for quite some time. Maybe even it was that he learned from Patry and that whole body duo thing, and ultimately ended up being able to do that with taking this body now. But I think more so that Julius pretty much this entire time has forgot who he was while he was a child, and it was the gates of the demon world that ultimately allowed him to remember putting that mark back on his forehead and bringing forth Lucius Zogratis. And I think it wasn't until that very moment he lost time and all of that jazz that he finally realized, oh snap, something is off. And then again, how did Adramelech say that he knew exactly how this was going to go? This was a plan that was many years in the making. Again, I love the idea that potentially Lucius Zogratis has been the Wizard King all along. Like, how ill would it be if Black Clover ends with saying, saying, screw the Wizard King title. The Wizard King was a piece of garbage. Probably Tabata's gonna go the route of Asta and Yuno preaching, that's not what a Wizard King is supposed to be. We'll show you a real Wizard King. And maybe that'll be how things go. I would love for it to be that he's disgraced the Wizard King title and he was the Wizard King, Lucius Zogratis, controlling all of these people for years upon years, and they look at it like, that's not a title we want. We're gonna do something different now. That would be fire. Please, Tabata, somebody translate this and give him this idea so we can roll with it. Now, basically, there's going to be a 3-month break, essentially a real world 3-month time skip for the final arc of Black Clover. Y'all know this. We're going into the finale, and wow, I'm gonna be honest with you, this chapter was amazing, mind-blowing, and I'm gonna say straight up, yes, it did make up for that lackluster, disappointing Lucifero battle. The Lucifero battle is still disappointing, but if it led to this, if it led to ultimately the end of the old dynasty, I see so many stories are incorporating this now, and it's almost as if it's like a real world affecting manga and back and forth, because like we had Beelzebub raising the devil's child. Now the devil's child or his children are all here, and they've been competing for this role, and now we have, hey, one of them seemingly won using time and manipulated all of this entire story, and I love it. I feel like Black Clover just took what a lot of stories prior to it have done, including some in the shonen genre, and did it kind of, I don't want to say right, but really freaking awesome with the plot twist of this person being behind this person, behind this person. I like the way Black Clover did it. It was mwah, and I'm sorry I ever doubted you, Tabata. I'm sorry I ever doubted Clover. Like, I gotta say right now, it is once again that Black Clover greatness! But that's all I have for this one. I'm for Neverworld, and remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy! Have an awesome day, peace in, and woo! It's gonna be a grueling 3 months, but yo, I can't get over it. Wow, Julius was evil all along. Insanity. Greatness. Black Clover!